and I don't know if this is true for everybody, but when we were young Turks, as we say, as other people say, you're committed to architecture in a way that architecture gives form to architecture. So it's autonomous, it's self-contained, and it's without context. And there were people around us, Peter Eisenman in particular, that were trying to convince us in the world that architecture didn't have heredity. He was trying to really make it abstract, and that was important at that time in the early 1980s because architecture was having an identity crisis, as we say. And I think institutions, disciplines, professions, mostly disciplines, not rather than professions, go through the same kind of identity issues that humans do. So the first phase was architecture gives form to architecture. Becoming aware of context and having enough confidence to want ideas to come into the project that are unexpected. Architecture gives form to life. Architecture um, basically would be still in control. It would determine what shape life should be. And in Los Angeles, it wasn't so difficult because there was no real context. So we had to basically create the context. Usually if you're in a city that's more developed, you look to the left, you see something, you look to the right, you see something, and it gives you, you know, ideas about what to put in the middle. You look to the left and to the right in Los Angeles years ago, and there wasn't anything. So what you put in the middle had to anticipate what you expected there to be on the left and the right. So architecture gives form to life. The final phase, where for a whole host of reasons, many of which I probably said last time, but not in any particular order, is that life gives form to architecture, and you're really interested in not just the physical. It's not less about the physical world and more about people. That you're really interested in trying to bring out ideas from the minds of people and what their needs are, as well as the context. And now it's expanded to not just be about people. I'm interested in the microbiome. I'm asking the microbes of the soil, what do you need? And seeing that as grassroots, instead of grassroots stopping at humans, I'm seeing the grassroots go all the way down into the soil, into the microbes. And I don't mean that, in jest. I mean it seriously. That life itself. There are scientists biologists that believe our personality is formed in our cells. It's not formed in our mind. It's formed in our cells. So the behavior of the cells, the interaction of the cells, the improvisation of the cells, is basically comes all the way up through, and in those moments where your mind becomes quiet, your body becomes still, somehow it makes its way all the way through, and you figure out what to do with that. So yes, it has changed. I'm still interested in making beautiful objects for sure. I love to make beautiful objects because I think I remember the first time in Manhattan when, from a distance, I was looking. Like I say, the Empire State Building, for instance. You know, from a distance, you see the top of the building from 10, 20 blocks away. You get a little bit closer, you see the middle of the building. You get right up to it, you see the base of the building. That's three parts of a column, so to speak. But then there are some buildings, like the Empire State Building, you can put your forehead on the building itself and still see detail. And that really fascinated me. How, if it was possible to actually to be engaged in architecture, looking at architecture, um, at any distance, at any proximity. And so the detail of a building, as Mies would say, God is in the details. And when you're a kid, the things that Mies said or Lou Kahn said, you think is corny. But then years later, you realize that they were profound statements. You know, so yeah, architecture has changed. Architecture has changed, and my approach to architecture has changed.